Found out my wife had a whole other family, because of a luggage mix-up at a resort. I thought I was crazy. Nope. Just married to a world-class liar. We were supposed to be healing. That was the point of this vacation. 11 years of marriage, and the last 2 years had been off. She was always busy. I was always working too much. We argued about little things, why I didn't take out the trash on time, why she never picked up her phone, why she suddenly needed solo getaways for her job as a pharmaceutical rep. I'll admit, I didn't push too hard when she started acting strange. I chalked it up to stress. Or maybe that I was just boring now, some guy she saw snoring in front of ESPN and not the man she married. But this trip, this ridiculously expensive week at a luxury beach resort with champagne on arrival and a jacuzzi in every damn room, was supposed to be the reset button. A chance to find each other again. Yeah. We found something alright. Our bags got mixed up at the airport. She always has this pale pink Samsonite suitcase that looks just like 1,000 others. Mine's basic black. Somehow, mine showed up, and instead of her pink one, there was another almost identical bag that the resort staff wheeled into our suite. She was in the shower when it arrived. I thought I was being helpful when I opened it up to unpack her stuff. Except it wasn't her stuff. At first, I thought it was just someone else's bag. Then I found a black velvet pouch tucked in one of the interior pockets. Inside were physical photos. Who even carries printed photos anymore? They were of her. My wife. Smiling on a beach. Holding hands with some other man. Playing in the ocean with 2 kids I've never seen in my life. Same smile she gives me. Same dress she wore to our anniversary dinner last year. Same necklace I gave her for Valentine's Day 2 years ago. It felt like falling into a parallel universe. Or like a switch flipped in my brain. I just sat there staring at those photos, wondering if this was some horrible prank. It wasn't. I know what some of you are probably thinking, maybe the luggage really belonged to someone else and the resemblance was a coincidence. That's what I wanted to believe. I really did. I needed it to be a mistake. But the more I looked through that suitcase, the less doubt I had. There was a journal. Not hers, but it mentioned Emily, my wife's name, multiple times. Stuff like Emily and I are planning the next trip to the Keys, and Emily said the kids want to go to Disney next time. Kids. Plural. I pulled out more photos. One of them had my wife in a bikini I definitely hadn't seen before, wrapped around that same dude, some mid-30s tan surfer bro. The kids were in matching, best summer ever, t-shirts. And get this, one of them had her eyes. Her eyes. That same weird greenish hazel thing. I wish I was making this up. I wish I was overreacting. But then I opened her real suitcase after she got out of the shower and found a matching bikini to the one in the photos. Like it had just been worn. Sand still in the folds. I didn't say anything at first. I was in full detective mode now. You know that quiet, slightly unhinged energy when your gut knows something's wrong but your brain hasn't caught up yet? That was me. Smiling. Nodding. Pretending everything was fine while I felt like the floor was dropping out beneath me. She didn't notice a thing. She was too busy texting someone, smiling at her phone like she was watching a puppy video. That night, I waited until she was asleep. I took photos of every picture. Scanned every entry in that damn journal. And I found a return address on a shipping label tucked into a zippered compartment. Guess where it was? 3 towns over from where she said her sales conferences had been for the last 6 months. I wasn't just cheated on. I was being double-lifed. So now I knew something was up, but I hadn't said a word. Not yet. I wanted more. I needed to be sure. Not just for my peace of mind, but because I could already feel that she was going to gaslight the hell out of me once I brought it up. She's always been quick with excuses, always had a way of spinning things, so I ended up apologizing for even asking. That night, I told her I wasn't feeling well and wanted to stay in and rest. She looked annoyed, barely concealed it, and said she'd go for a solo dinner, maybe check out the night market. Said she needed air. Classic line, right? I waited 10 minutes after she left, then called the front desk. Asked if they had a restaurant reservation under her name. They didn't. Then I had the bright idea to open up her iPad. We'd set it up on our shared Apple ID years ago, she probably forgot. I opened Find My iPhone and watched her location. She was still at the resort. But not alone. She was 2 buildings over, in the couples-only cabana section. Her little blue dot wasn't moving. I booked it across the resort, barefoot and heart hammering. Kept to the shadows like I was a damn spy. And there she was. In a private cabana, candlelit, with him. Surfer bro from the photos. They were feeding each other from a shared plate like it was some Nicholas Sparks movie. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even looking guilty. She looked happy. I didn't walk up to them. I didn't cause a scene. I just stood there in the dark, close enough to hear her laugh. That fake little high-pitched one she used to give me when we were dating. Back when I was the only man in her life. Or so I thought. I went back to our suite and packed my bag. But I didn't leave. Not yet. Because I was going to make her feel it. She came back around midnight. Tipsy. Lipstick slightly smudged. No shopping bags, no night market souvenirs. Just the smug look of a woman who thought she was pulling it off. You feeling better? She asked, not even looking at me as she slipped out of her heels. Yeah, I said. Much better. She smiled at that, probably thought I meant physically. I was talking about clarity. The next morning, I pretended everything was normal. I even suggested a spa day. She was all over it, giggling like a teenager. Kept checking her phone like she was coordinating with someone else, though. She went off for her massage, and I went to the front desk and confirmed the checkout for the next morning. I booked myself a second room under a fake name with the cash I had. No way was I staying in that suite another night after what I was about to do. That night, I left a little surprise for her in her suitcase. I took one of the photo prints of her and Surfer Daddy, one where they were holding hands and the kids were running ahead, and I wrote on the back in red marker. Nice family. I hope they're worth it. You'll be needing a new suitcase. I left that photo in the top compartment of her luggage, zipped it halfway shut, and then switched the bags again, put the real one back, ditched the other at the concierge desk with a lost and found note. When she came back from her solo walk, again, she acted like nothing happened. She asked if I wanted to grab one last dinner before checkout. I said sure. During dinner, I asked her if she ever wanted kids. Just to see what she'd say. She looked me dead in the eye and said, only with you. I could never picture raising a family with anyone else. I almost choked on my drink. This woman was unreal. She slept like a baby that night. Meanwhile, I lay awake, watching the ceiling fan spin, wondering how long it had been going on, how many lies she'd told me, how many times she'd come home to me after being in his bed. The next morning, I was gone before she woke up. I left the suite key on the nightstand, right next to her wedding ring. So I'm on the first flight out, sitting in the airport bar with a Bloody Mary the first don't even want, and my phone is lighting up like a damn Christmas tree. Calls. Texts. Voicemails. All her. Where are you? Babe, your stuff is gone, are you okay? Please call me, I'm freaking out. And then came the cherry on top. If this is about my friend from last night, I can explain. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. Really. The gaslighting was so predictable it was cliché. I ignored all of it. Got on the plane. Landed back home. Called a buddy of mine, a divorce attorney, and got the ball rolling before I even stepped into our house. The place felt haunted. Not by ghosts, but by memories. Her perfume still lingering on the bathroom counter, her coffee mug by the sink. All of it suddenly felt disgusting. She got back 2 days later. I'd cleared half my stuff by then. Left the other half for the movers. I didn't plan to be there, but I was. Sitting on the porch. Watching her Uber pull up like it was a horror movie and she was the villain stepping onto the stage. Her face when she saw me. Panic. What's going on?" she said, forcing a confused smile. "I saw the pictures, Emily. I saw everything." Silence. Then she pulled out the Academy Award performance. "You don't understand. I didn't mean for you to find that. I was going to tell you. You were going to tell me when." I cut in. "After your double life got boring? When you got tired of lying to 2 men and wanted to see how far you could push it? You were always working," she snapped suddenly, like it was my fault. "I needed someone who was there. You were never emotionally present. I had to do everything alone." She turned it on me. Of course she did. Classic deflection. I was the one holding down the house, paying every damn bill, and she was off living a second life and playing house with some other guy and 2 kids. I just looked at her and said, "You could have left. You could have told the truth. But you wanted the best of both worlds. Now you get neither." That shut her up. She tried crying next. I didn't buy it. Not this time. She followed me inside like she still had a say in what happened next. "Can't we just talk?" she begged, standing in the living room like a stranger in her own home. "We can go to therapy or something. This doesn't have to end like this." Therapy. Right. Because that fixes a whole-ass second family hidden in another city. I didn't even look at her. I just handed her a manila envelope with the divorce papers already started. Thanks to my lawyer friend, we'd filed for irreconcilable differences and I had all the financials locked down. "I'm not stupid." Her face went white. "You already filed. You already cheated," I said. She tried to argue again, to say, it was complicated, that things weren't black and white. But every sentence sounded more desperate and less believable. The more she talked, the more I realized something. She wasn't sorry. She was caught. That's a big difference. When she realized she couldn't manipulate me into staying, her tone flipped. She went full fire and brimstone. "You don't know how hard it's been for me," she yelled. "I had to keep everyone happy. You, the kids, him." "Wait," I cut her off. "The kids? You mean his kids?" She paused. Too long. And that's when it hit me like a gut punch. Those weren't just his kids. One of them was hers. Yeah. She had a child during one of her business trips that she never told me about. A 4-year-old. Which means it happened when she told me she had a miscarriage on the road and came home crying into my chest. She faked a miscarriage to hide a pregnancy with another man's child. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was so insane, I couldn't even cry. That was the moment I stopped loving her. Just like that. But I wasn't done. If she wanted to play dirty, she picked the wrong opponent. So there I was, standing in what used to be our living room, realizing that the woman I married faked a miscarriage to cover up another man's baby. Honestly, I didn't even feel heartbreak anymore. I felt rage. Cold, focused rage. The kind that doesn't explode, it calculates. I didn't scream. Didn't flip a table or throw her suitcase on the lawn like a soap opera. No, I smiled. Because now it was my turn. I told her to pack her things. She tried to say she needed a few days to process everything. I told her no. I'd already changed the locks. She could take her essentials, and the rest would be shipped wherever the hell she wanted it, preferably far from my zip code. While she scrambled to stuff her crap into duffel bags, I grabbed her phone. Yeah, I know, not proud of snooping. But desperate times. And guess what? She never deleted her text history with Surfer Boy. That's how confident she was. Pages and pages of messages like, "He's so clueless. I think I can stretch this another year. Our weekend was perfect. Can't wait to get away from him for good. You're my real family. He's just the paycheck." Oof. That one stung. So I forwarded every single message to my own phone. Then I logged into our shared cloud account and downloaded her location history. Dozens of hotel pins. Airbnbs. Sometimes while I was working night shifts or attending her family's events alone. I compiled everything into a neat little folder called Exhibit A. Why? Because she had no prenup. And our state is not cheater-friendly when it comes to asset division. I was going to make sure she walked away with nothing but regrets and a suitcase full of lies. Next stop, I called the guy. Yep. Found his number in her messages. Told him exactly what I found, including the timeline of her little dual-life adventure. He went silent. Then whispered, "She told me you were the ex. That she only stayed married because of taxes." Yup. She'd told him I was the side piece. So I'm on the phone with Surfer Daddy, this poor idiot who also thought he was in a committed relationship with her. He's going full stun mullet silent as I read him his own text messages. Then I dropped the bomb. She told me those kids were yours. That she was just playing house with you while traveling for work. He lets out this half-laugh, half-groan sound that said it all. "Only one's mine," he mutters. "The older one isn't even hers. She said she was his godmother." I nearly dropped the phone. So now we're both learning in real time that we've been running parallel tracks on the same train wreck for years. She was out here building a patchwork quilt of half-truths and backup plans like it was Sims. When I tell him I'm divorcing her and going full scorched earth, he just sighs and goes, "Yeah, guess I am too." Turns out, he thought they were married. Had a whole ceremony in Costa Rica, no license, just a spiritual bond type deal. He even had her listed as an emergency contact at work. Gave her access to his health insurance. The man was as screwed as I was. Maybe worse. I told him I was forwarding him all the evidence. Said, "I don't want anything from you. But if you're taking legal steps, might as well coordinate." He agreed. Now we were teammates in a game neither of us signed up for. The best part? While all this was happening, she was blowing up my phone with texts like, "Why are you being so cruel? Can we please just talk like adults? You're destroying everything." Nah. She did that all by herself. I was just making sure the debris hit her first. By the end of the week, I'd cancelled all joint accounts, transferred my direct deposits, locked down my credit, and filed an injunction on her using any of my info for loans or cards. And just for fun, I messaged her mom. Told her everything. Included pictures. I don't know what I expected from her mom, honestly. Probably a mix of denial and forced neutrality, you know, the "we don't take sides" crap. Nope. She called me immediately. Not to defend her daughter. To apologize. Apparently, this wasn't Emily's first rodeo. Her mom told me, through literal sobs, that she caught Emily sneaking boys into the house at 16 while dating some kid from church. Lied about it until she was blue in the face. Even back then, she had a habit of crafting these elaborate narratives, playing the victim, twisting everyone around her finger. She always had two lives, her mom said. The one we all saw, and the one she lived when no one was looking. Guess I just never looked close enough. Her mom asked if I needed anything. Said she'd support whatever I chose to do. She even asked for the contact info for the other guy, said if he wanted to compare notes, she'd talk to him, too. And then she dropped the final twist of the knife. I didn't want to say anything, but the last time she was at my house, she left her email open on my iPad. There were photos, of a third man. Third. I didn't even feel surprise anymore. Just this cold, dead calm. So now we were up to me, the husband. Surfer daddy, the live-in soulmate. And some mystery dude she was apparently texting and sending lingerie selfies to from hotel bathrooms. At this point, I didn't even want to know more. I was emotionally TKO'd. It wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was academic. A case study in narcissistic implosion. I updated my lawyer, sent over everything from her mom, and finalized a plan. The house was mine, the accounts were locked, and her name would be off everything before the ink dried. But before I could even finish wrapping my head around it all, she showed up at my job. In tears. I work in a decently sized office, not a place where drama typically walks through the front doors. But that day, it waltzed in like it owned the building. Emily showed up around lunch, hair perfectly styled like it was a damn photo shoot, but her mascara was running. She looked wrecked, on purpose, probably. She wanted the sympathy look. Security called up to let me know a distraught woman claiming to be your wife was in the lobby. I took a minute. Considered letting them escort her out. But part of me, spiteful, curious, done with the BS me, wanted to hear what performance she'd try this time. She started crying the second she saw me. Loud enough to draw eyes. I just want to talk. Please, just 5 minutes, she begged, clutching my sleeve like some cheesy rom-com. I pulled her into an empty conference room. Make it quick. She launched into this speech about how she made a mistake, how she got in too deep, how things weren't as real with the other guy as they were with me. Said she was mentally unwell, that she didn't mean to hurt me, and that she never stopped loving me through all of it. Yeah, she said that. With a straight face. I just sat there, arms crossed, watching her sob like she was auditioning for an Oscar. Then I slid my phone across the table. On the screen, a photo of her and Surfer Boy at the fake Costa Rica wedding, standing barefoot on the beach, holding hands in front of a minister in a flower crown. She went dead quiet. You faked a marriage, Emily. While you were actually married. Do you know what that makes you? I didn't mean for it to go that far, she whispered. Didn't mean to get caught, you mean. She switched tactics. What about us? What about everything we built? I leaned forward and said, you torched it. You don't get to ask where the house went when you're the one who lit the match. She finally shut up. I stood up, walked to the door, and said, this is the last time you ever speak to me in person. Next time you need something, talk to my lawyer. Then I left her there. Alone. Crying into her designer purse. After the office ambush, I figured she'd go quiet. Take the L. Maybe reflect on her disaster of a life. Nope. She did what narcissists do best, tried to rewrite the narrative. Within a day, mutual friends started texting me weird, concerned messages. Dude, Emily said you're having a breakdown. That you're pushing her away for no reason. She told us you were cheating first. Is that true? She said she walked in on you with someone while she was out of town. I almost choked laughing. She had flipped the whole script. Told everyone I was unstable, insecure, and emotionally abusive. That I'd been gaslighting her, and she had proof, but wouldn't share it because she wanted to protect my dignity. It was a level of projection that deserved its own zip code. Thankfully, I'd already gotten ahead of it. The day I filed for divorce, I made sure my closest friends knew what was going down. Gave them just enough detail to see through any of her crap. Even so, I had to waste hours cleaning up her mess, screenshotting texts, forwarding emails, and explaining that no, I hadn't cheated, hadn't snapped, hadn't joined a cult, she was just pissed I didn't let her juggle multiple lives anymore. The real kicker. She reached out to my mom. Told her she was concerned for my mental health. Said she just wanted to make sure he's okay, even if we can't be together. My mom, bless her, had already been looped in. You're not concerned, she told her flatly. You're just scared the truth is catching up. Click. I was proud of her. My mom's not the confrontational type. But even she could see through the fake tears and the pity party routine. At this point, Emily had burned every bridge she tried to cross. And I hadn't even done anything vindictive yet. But I was about to. Because remember that third guy? I found him. So yeah. I found him. The elusive third guy. Honestly, I wasn't even looking that hard. He practically fell into my lap thanks to a tagged photo on Instagram. One of her old friends posted a group pic from a party last year. There she was, clinging to some dude I'd never seen before, captioned, "Throwback to Vegas nights. Miss this crew." His name was in the tags. Let's call him Travis. A quick scroll through his profile. Oh boy. Dozens of cozy selfies with Emily. One where she was literally wearing my hoodie. Another with a heart emoji caption, "My reason to smile." And the kicker. One from 6 months ago where she commented, "Miss you already," face blowing a kiss, on a photo taken in our house, on our back deck. He was local. Worked in real estate. Had no clue she was married. I could tell by how public everything was, he wasn't hiding anything. So I messaged him. I didn't come in hot. Just, "Hey man, we don't know each other but I think we've both been dating the same woman." He replied almost instantly. 30 minutes later, we were on a phone call, piecing together timelines like detectives trying to solve a murder. Turns out, she told him she was divorced, that her ex was controlling and still hanging around but they were amicable for the sake of shared property. She'd been with him almost as long as she'd been with Surfer Boy. She had 3 men in rotation like some sociopathic carousel. Each with a role, the stable husband, me, the passionate beach romance, Surfer Boy, and the reliable hometown backup, Travis. And she'd convinced all of us that the others were either exes or imaginary. You know that scene in every heist movie where the con artist finally gets cornered by everyone they lied to? Yeah, we were one missing violin swell away from it. I gave Travis everything. Dates, screenshots, proof of marriage. He was shell-shocked but grateful. And that's when the idea hit me. We weren't just 3 separate victims. We were a team now. And it was time Emily met the Avengers. So there we were, me, Surfer Boy, and Travis. 3 dudes from 3 totally different walks of life, bonded by one shared experience, getting played by the same manipulative tornado of a woman. We set up a group chat. It was awkward at first, lots of WTFs and gallows humor, but soon it turned into something productive. Travis, turns out, is hilarious. The man has sarcasm on tap. He called her Emily Prime like she was a glitching AI boss character. Surfer Boy was more mellow, still kind of nursing his heartbreak, but he was all in. I proposed we meet in person. So we did. A bar. Neutral ground. First round was on me because, well, I felt like the OG victim here. We spent hours swapping stories, matching timelines, realizing how she'd used the same lines on all of us. She had this thing she'd say, "You're the only place I feel safe," and she used it like a damn signature. We all heard it. Then came the $1,000,000 idea. Travis goes, "What if we all show up somewhere at the same time? Like, let her see us. Together." I paused. "You mean ambush her?" He shrugged. "Call it what you want. I call it clarity." So we planned it. Emily had this charity gala thing she bragged about every year. She always brought a date. Travis had already been invited as her +1 this year. And guess what? She told Surfer Boy she was skipping it to spend a quiet weekend at home with him. And me? Well, I was supposed to be a distant memory by now. So we all got dressed up. Suits. Ties. Cold, surgical smiles. And we walked in, together. 3 men she said she loved. 3 men she lied to. 3 witnesses to her greatest downfall. The look on her face. Worth every second of hell she put me through. The second Emily saw us, her wine glass froze midair. She looked like she'd seen ghosts. Not 1, 3. I wish I could bottle the look on her face. That perfect blend of shock, panic, and oh shit, what do I say now? We didn't approach her right away. Nah. We let her sweat. Travis walked over first, smooth as hell. Kissed her on the cheek like nothing was wrong. Then Surfer Boy sidled up, real casual. Didn't think you were coming, he said, handing her a drink. And me? I waited. I let her spot me across the room. Gave her a little wave. Smiled. She backed away from Travis like he'd burned her. Looked at Surfer Boy. Then at me. Her face went red, then white, then red again. You guys, this is a setup, she hissed. Nope, I said, finally walking over. This is a reunion. She tried to bolt. Like physically leave. But Travis grabbed her elbow, not hard, just enough to keep her there. Not so fast, sweetheart, he said. We've got some things to clear up. People were starting to stare now. We weren't yelling. We didn't need to. Our presence alone was chaos enough. She tried to spin it, of course. They're obsessed with me, she told a nearby couple. This is harassment. Obsessed? I repeated, loud enough for the people near us to hear. No, Emily. We're just done pretending you didn't burn down our lives like it was a hobby. Then Surfer Boy pulled out his phone and showed a picture of her fake wedding ceremony. This was last March, he said, looking around. While she was still married. Just FYI. The whispers started spreading like wildfire. She tried denial. Accusation. Even crocodile tears again. None of it worked. She left that party alone. Face down, shoulders stiff, mascara running like black rivers. We didn't even follow. We just clinked our glasses and toasted to her exit. That, I said, was the most satisfying moment of my life. But I wasn't done yet. One final move remained. After the gala, she went full ghost mode. No texts. No calls. No dramatic last-ditch letters or voicemail monologues. Just radio silence. I'd like to believe she finally understood the depth of the damage she caused, but let's be real. She was probably just figuring out her next mark. Meanwhile, I was tying up loose ends. The divorce? Finalized. She got nothing. I kept the house, the car, the accounts. The judge took one look at the evidence packet I dropped on the table and said, well, this won't take long. Travis ended things too. Quietly. Respectfully. Moved on, started dating someone who wasn't living 5 lives simultaneously. Surfer Boy. He moved out of the place they shared. Found a new job in another state. He said he needed a clean break from the circus. As for me, I took a sabbatical. Traveled. Spent a week in Scotland just hiking and not answering to anyone. When I came back, I adopted a dog. Started therapy. Rebuilt, one slow, painful step at a time. The worst part wasn't losing her. It was losing who I thought she was. That grief is sneaky. It lingers. But eventually, it fades. I learned I'm not broken. I'm not stupid. I'm not unlovable. I was just a damn good man married to a professional liar. And now? Now I live honestly. Quietly. Peacefully. And if I ever date again, she's gonna have to show me more than smiles and good sex. She's gonna need receipts, consistency, depth. To anyone out there who's going through something similar, let me say this. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not the villain in their story just because they can't handle the truth. Take your time. Take your power back. And when you're ready, burn the whole fake house down, and build something real in its place. Thanks for reading, Reddit. I never thought I'd be this guy, but here I am. Standing. Healing. Laughing again. And damn, it feels good. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.